Wow, what is this? It's extremely pretty. Is your curiosity piqued about this beautiful orange creature with bright eye spots? Oh, then you found just the right YouTube channel, my dear friend. Bazaar! Europe, Europe, Europe. Woo, Europe! Ladies and gentlemen, what is happening? Oh, let me explain. Europe, Europe, Europe. Oh my gosh, ladies and gentlemen, what are these? This is a very gorgeous species of silk moth from Europe. What you are looking at right now is the Tau Emperor, scientific name Aglia Tau. A very nice orangish species. These are two females. The males of this species are even prettier. They are bright orange with bright blue eye spots. And what's really cool is that this species is native to my own home country, the Netherlands in Northern Europe. You see, I'm wearing a European flag for a reason. My name is Bart Coppens and I am a YouTuber who films rare butterflies and moths. I've made thousands of moth and butterfly videos. But I've fallen into a big trap. You see, when I was younger, I used to think I need to film big, large, rare and exotic species for YouTube. And I've been filming these exotic species on YouTube for a long time. But I realized that the species from Northern Europe, from my own home country, need more love, care and attention. So this year, I am starting to make more life cycle videos of indigenous species from Europe. That's right, Europe, Europe. We have some really cool insects as well. On my channel we film a diversity of species from every country in the world. No matter if you are in Papua, Australia, in Russia, North America, Canada, Mexico, Brazil, or the Netherlands. And today I am going to show you how to breed in captivity one of the most beautiful species of moth from Europe. The Tau Emperor, Aglia Tau. I hope you are excited because I am. People have been asking me to breed them for many years and today I'm going to show you a breeding tutorial. Let's get started. 3, 2, 1. Well, I think we have to hurry up, because I have a petri dish with moth eggs, and caterpillars are already coming out. Oh gosh, they need food as quickly as possible. I decided to use willow tree, because willow is a fantastic plant to raise silk moths in general. I used a paintbrush to scoop the caterpillars up, and I relocated them onto the willow leaves. I don't like to touch small caterpillars with my fingers, for they are too vulnerable. I asked the paintbrush, how poetic. I've turned basic larval care into performance art for the unqualified. Fascinating. Nature in all its infinite wisdom gave my caterpillars decorative headgear. And still, somehow, they still rely on me for survival. The first instar of Aglia tau is very interesting. And it has very cool spine-like projections on its thorax. It has been scientifically proven that this makes the caterpillars adorable. Close the box and check back a few days later. Let's check back later. See how they are doing. A little bit of oak tree too. Because I've been told they really like oak as well. And maybe my logic is it will dry out less than willow. But let's see how they're doing. I am very happy to see my caterpillars are alive and growing well. It's refreshing to feel how emotionally attached I am to beings that will outgrow your care and promptly forget that I exist. Oak and willow trees seem to work pretty alright for them. Alright. We check back a few days later. Nice caterpillars. I added a small bottle of water to keep the leaves fresh. But this is optional. But I'm lazy. Soon, however, once they grow to the second life stage or more, the larvae do need a bigger enclosure. Let's check back a few days later. It's time to see how Aglia tau is doing. Because today I'm moving them to a bigger enclosure. You see, it's much bigger. Hold on. So first I'm gonna do the classic paper toweling that I always do. Place it here on the bottom of this silly container here. There you go. It's gonna absorb all the excess moisture. Keep it nice. Next, I have a lot of, well, again, this is a mix of willow and oak tree, which is what I prefer to use. Place it here in the back. It works. Like our Aglia tau is just doing great. Let's do a little checkup. Yeah, most of them are first or second instar. Let's take a look at this, yeah? Ooh. So this is great. This is fantastic. So I think this is soon the end of the first instar. Some of them are really molting, shedding their skin soon, as you can see.
And it looks like we have many of them at the moment. I think this one here is already the second instar. You can tell the way the spines are arranged is a bit different. Can you see it? They're facing more forward and backward now instead of facing up. This is the second life stage, guys. Aglia are kind of aliens. They're a very strange Saturnid. So let's get all of this stuff out of here, out of their old box. Let's put this away carefully, gently. So I'm not sure how many we have at the moment, but it seems like a decent amount. Let's zoom out. Like here we can see 2 of them. Here we can see 2 of them on the leaves. Can you see that? And overall, if we zoom out, my impression is there's just caterpillars everywhere. Here too. So that's good. That's great, in fact. It means they are doing well. Would you look at that? Really nice. Here in the back we have the willow tree, of which there's many of them eating the willow as well. That's why I like to mix the host plant, so all the caterpillars can choose what they prefer to eat. So, hey, look at that. Such a weird, strange species, eh? Food plant covered in caterpillars and place it here in a water bottle with the new food plant. And the old food is gonna dry out because it's older. But that's okay. Caterpillars will move on to the new food eventually.
How delightful. Something in my care is developing correctly. Happiness is such a rare byproduct of my experiments. Don't worry, it'll pass.
One issue, and I've broken the lid. This is very annoying. So that means if I close this, there's gonna be a gap here. It's just so annoying. It's very amateurish, sorry guys. This is not gonna be a super professional breeding guide, I guess. So what I'm about to do is very silly. I'm gonna cover the container with a towel so they cannot escape from the hole. You're gonna laugh, you're gonna think it's stupid, and I agree, it works. I should get better equipment, but at the same time it works, so why not?
But then it was time. Finally spring. Let's see what happened. Alright boys and girls, it is time to have a look at our... Ooh, my gut is growing. I should lose weight. I'm so fat. It's time to take a look at our caterpillars. I'm gonna do some cleaning here. About to give them new food plant because this stuff is getting a bit too old. Oh, this is interesting. We do have an interesting result.
Of course it looks silly like an alien. You'd look strange too if your existence was eat, molt and repeat, under amateur supervision.
Well, first things first, it's time to add some fresh paper towel and then fresh food plant that I just picked for them. It's a mix of willow and oak tree, exactly what they like. The same food I gave them before. Here on the host plant there's a lot of caterpillars, but to be honest this food is just getting old. So I'm gonna pick the leaves off that have caterpillars on them. And I'm gonna transfer them manually to the container with fresh food. Because I don't want them to keep munching these old leaves while they have fresh leaf. I have no need for that. Let me just pick these off. So far it's going really well. Guys, some of the caterpillars are actually getting kind of big, as you can see. Can you guys see it? Let me zoom in a little bit more. So the caterpillars of Aglia tau are really special. They're really different from many other kinds of silk moths. Look at those weird horns that they have. It's such a weird and crazy species, isn't it? Fantastic. Really beautiful though. This is probably one of the biggest caterpillars that I have right now. So just take a close look at it, at this really bizarre creature. Before I pick the leaf it's sitting on off so I can transfer it. This oak leaf is still looking relatively fresh, but I just added some brand new food in there, so I don't want to add the old food again. So I'm also going to pick the caterpillars of all these leaves. Here we see caterpillar. Oop. Here's one tip: never force the caterpillars off the leaves they are sitting on. That's very bad for them. It can disrupt their molting process. Also, their feet are really strong. They have suction cups, and if you rip them off the leaf, sometimes you'll just end up ripping the caterpillar in half, which is of course not what we want. Boys and girls, here's most of the caterpillars we could find. As you can see, they are quite silly and slug-like species. These caterpillars, they are just so crazy. I want you guys just to feast your eyes on their weird shape and form, really. They're really just cute. Aren't they? I mean, just look at that. Just look at their silly shape. And they are really a unique moth. They are, I believe, from the subfamily Aglyinae. And the genus Aglia is the only representative of this genus, which makes it even weirder. So from an evolutionary perspective, the Tau emperor is in its own group of Saturniidae, its own subfamily. And that makes it really worthwhile to rear it alone. Because if you want to see a diversity of silk moths in your life, a diversity of emperor moths, then you can't miss out on this subfamily. Wow, there's really nothing else like it in the silk moth world. They really are a thing of their own. Can you see that? What do you guys think? Leave a comment if you like the caterpillars. Or do you think they are scary? Nah, they're not scary. That's nonsense. They're just really cute looking. I hope the wind doesn't blow the leaves away. Oh, there's some strong wind. It's very easy to raise them on oak tree, willow, beech. So there's a lot of plants they can eat in the wild and in captivity. Awesome. This is really looking really good. Wow. Who would have known? The Tau Emperor moth on my YouTube channel. Another life cycle. They're so cool, aren't they? Anyway, I'm gonna put them back in their container. I think I can use the same setup for Instar 3 and maybe 4. Once they hit Instar 5, maybe I will move them to a bigger container. But for now it's fine. I have an excessive amount of space in my opinion for being this small. So let me just place them back here in their enclosure. It's yeah, so cool, so awesome. You gotta love them, don't you? I do. I love them. I love this species. They're just awesome, in my opinion. There you go. Enjoy, guys. Enjoy the fresh leaf. In a few days I want to check back just to remove the dry leaves. Because the leaves they're sitting on right now, those are gonna dry out because I plucked them off the branch. Of course, this gap here is actually an advantage because it's ventilation. It allows the humidity to escape. And the towel prevents the caterpillars from escaping. So maybe accidentally I found out a setup that works really well. By accident. Let's check back a few days later. Hey! It's you, babe. Oh, I'm so happy to see you. I am so happy to see you return on my channel. Oh, that's so great. Wanna check? Wanna check how they're doing? Whoops! I slipped the lid off. Let's have a look. Okay, sorry, all jokes aside, I'm in a silly mood. I don't expect any caterpillars to be on the willow, because I just put it in like an hour ago. I just freshly picked it. Before that though, I did provide them with... Oops! Let me make sure this bottle doesn't fall over. I did provide them with fresh oak tree 1 day ago. And this is some of the old house plant. Sorry. This is some of the old house plant. It's been in here for a few days. Oh, there's a lot of caterpillars on it though. Okay, so off screen the bottles keep falling over, which is annoying. But let me show you. Because we do have a lot of larvae. So I think the caterpillars have entered what looks like the 4th life stage. I think this is life stage 4. What's interesting about it is in this life stage they pretty much lose their horns. Like the projections they have on their body, they are literally gone. Sorry guys, it's very windy, it's hard to show it. But the cool spines that made them look awesome and devilish, they are gone. They just look kind of plain right now, unfortunately. But that's okay. I don't think they are that plain actually, I think they are very unique looking, all things considered. Very cool species though. If you are a breeder of silk moths and you've never raised the European Tau Emperor, shame on you. Like, this is one of the basic species everybody needs to raise. You are literally missing out if you haven't. This larva still has some of its cool spines. Let's zoom in. But it's really in the process of shedding its skin. So this is a fully grown instar number 3. That's about to become instar number 4. I think. So just take a moment to admire that, really. Really cool. There's a lot of them here in the vegetation, but it takes some effort to film them. Because they're pretty well hidden, camouflaged, like this one here near my fingers. Again, we need to do some zoom here. Let's see. Yeah, that's true, that's true. There you go. I think this could be instar number 4, I think, yeah. Not sure if it's 4 or 5. I think it's 4. I think after this they have one more life stage. It's pretty cool, right? Very strange caterpillars though, all things considered. They love oak tree, beech, willow, all of their relatives. They love it. Such fascinating caterpillars, ladies and gentlemen. Have you ever seen Aglia Tau? Have you ever raised this species in captivity or seen them in the wild? Or are you somebody watching from the United States or another continent and you were just curious? Leave a comment. Let me know. I am very happy to see my caterpillars are alive and growing well.
It's refreshing to feel how emotionally attached I am to beings that will outgrow your care and promptly forget that I exist. Oak and willow trees seem to work pretty alright for them.
Oh, here's more caterpillars of them. Several sitting here in the oak tree. Can you see it? This is 3 of them. I don't know how many we have in total, but there's definitely over a dozen. The bottle with some old oak tree and willow. Let's see if there's any caterpillars on there. The answer is yes. Spoiler alert, there's still a lot of them feeding. Let's see if we can get some close-ups. Ignore all this stuff behind me. I'm cleaning the enclosure of Aglia Tau here in the garden, of course. But I came here to show you something, because I was checking how they're doing, and I'm gonna show you a bunch of the biggest larvae that we have right now, the fully grown ones, more or less. This is the final instar. I don't know if you can see them, but there's multiple of them. They are gaining size rapidly right now in the final stage, in the final instar. As you can see, we have a nice amount of them. They have lost their cute horns, unfortunately. But would you have a look at that? Hey! Is that not cool? Is that not fascinating? I think so. And if we look here, we see even more of them. Oh look, so many caterpillars here eating the willow tree. Awesome! Oh, even more. This is a really medium-sized species. They are not going to be really big. I think in less than 2 weeks the first caterpillars will start pupating. They will grow a little bit bigger than this, but they are honestly kind of close to the maximum. Up here there's even some more of them.
Yes, they look like pickles, but not the appetizing kind. The kind that you find in the back of the fridge and quietly pretend that you didn't see. Nonetheless, these caterpillars have their charisma. Just like me, to be honest. I see the female viewers are flocking to my moth videos. How adorable. I can already hear them swooning. Ooh, a caterpillar. It's so mysterious. It's so delicate.
Look at that. Here they are. There's nothing I love to see more than healthy, fully grown caterpillars, guys. These are the fruits of my labor, my hard work. It's paying off. Once again. They're really cool caterpillars. Really unusual for Saturniidae, aren't they? Very cool. Very cool if you ask me. The genus Aglia is really unique. They even have their own subfamily, the Aglyinae. And that makes them unique among any other Saturnid. So there's literally nothing like them. There's nothing else outside of the genus Aglia that resembles Aglia. They are in their own subfamily. Look at them eating this willow. They're eating really fast. Really hungry. Yum, yum, yum. Oh, great.
This larva is ready to burst and ready to bust. Just like me on public transport.
The small ones doing? Well, we have some of the small ones here. Here, for example, as you can see, these still have the horns. Anyway, let's put them back so they can go continue to enjoy their short little lives. And hopefully some of them will pupate soon. Pretty sure that's gonna happen sooner or later, so there you go. There you go. There you go. See if we can put that lid on. Yeah! I should do it though. Let's break these branches a bit because they're sticking out. So let's snap them. There you go. Hey. This is taking longer than expected. Yeah. Yeah. Take this off. There you go. Classic. Classic. Yes. Guys, the caterpillars almost ate all the food. But it doesn't matter because it's also turning nasty and old and yellow, so they need fresh food ASAP. Let me take care of that. Guys, here are some of the last fully grown caterpillars. They're the last ones because the rest has already made a cocoon. Now, ignore the small ones. I feel like actually not showing this video how the second batch, how those small ones are growing up. I kind of don't care. This video is about this generation that we raised. The extra babies we had, they're just a bonus. There you go. This is a fully grown larva. It's gonna make a cocoon soon. If we look inside the paper towel, we will find a lot of cocoons here that have been spun. Let's very carefully unravel it. I'm pretty sure there's like dozens of cocoons and pupa in here. Here's a prepupal larva. As you can see, they make these cavities. This one isn't finished pupating. I'm gonna leave it in here. But there's a lot of them if we search. They are very well hidden. Let's see. Yeah, there's something in here. There is stuff in here. So, there you go. Here is a pupa. Actually, this is one of the first pupa of this species. Sorry, let's zoom in. My hands are a bit dirty. I'm working in the garden. So this is the pupa of a male. As you can see, it's kind of small. It's a tiny Saturniidae species, so don't expect the pupa to be huge. This is something. But sure, if we look for more, we are going to find a lot more. So, just curious, just doing a bit of a cavity search here, so to speak. So let's take this prepupal larva away. Nothing here, not much here. They like to hide very deep. Kind of like this. Ah, this is another fresh pupa. There you go. Can you see the cocoon? Just took out the pupa. Here's a good example of a cocoon of this species. This species makes very lazy cocoons with just a little bit of silk. It's very fascinating though. Very interesting. Prepupal and cocooning larvae are easy to identify because they change color. They get like this brown stripe on their back. I just found these and I'm gonna make them pupate in this little container using a substrate of paper towels. Let's hope it all goes well here. I feel like if I leave them in here, most of them will spin a cocoon by themselves, hopefully. There you go. Check back on this in a few weeks. Probably find 5 new pupa. Some of them are literally cocooning, literally. So I'm thinking this. Boom! Put a net over it. And it's probably one of the last times that we need to check up on them, honestly. After that, it's probably finished. Last Aglia Tau updates. Well, the food plant seems to have dried out quite a bit. But I think most of the larvae have pupated. So we're gonna take a look at that. And perhaps collect all the cocoons and pupae that we have. It's one prepupal larva. Also inside of the tissue paper there's clearly a lot of cocoons here with already formed pupae in them. Remember when I put the caterpillars here that were about to pupate? Well, some of them have pupated, as you can see, inside this plastic box. I'm just gonna leave the pupa in here just for a short while. Oh look, on the bottom there's more. Just for a second I would like to add more of the larvae that I can find. Now, ladies and gentlefolks, for you guys it's only been a few minutes, but for me it has been over half a year. As you can see, the environment looks very different now. That's because right now it's winter. As you can see, the trees are grey, the skies are dark, everything is grim and cold. So why am I filming in winter? Well, all the caterpillars have pupated. They've turned into pupa, and I've taken a long time, a lot of time to make this video. So why is there a time skip of half a year in this breeding video? Well, let me tell you the truth, yeah? Sorry. So today we are breeding the Tau emperor moth, Aglia tau, a really special and awesome species of silk moth from Europe. In Northern Europe it's one of the only species of Saturniidae that you can find there. But there's one issue, they only have one generation per year. Because the pupa of this species have to hibernate. And if you are a fan of my channel and you've watched all my other videos, then you've seen me do this before, you know the drill, you know what we're going to do. But just in case you're new here, I'm going to explain, because maybe there are new people who just started this hobby and they choose Aglia tau, the Tau emperor, as one of their first species to breed, and they're still confused. So this moth species, essentially, they only have a very short flight time in spring. I forgot which month exactly, but I think most of them fly around May. Yeah, I think they fly from about half April to late May. And there's like a climatic window of 3 to 4 weeks per year. It tends to shift. But what happens in the wild is when the caterpillars transform, when they spin a cocoon and they pupate, then these cocoons and pupa of these moths, they will not turn into moths the same year. Instead they will become dormant. And these pupa will then wait and spend the whole year, the whole summer, autumn, winter, waiting and waiting for the next spring. And it's only the spring of the next year that the pupa and cocoons hatch and turn into beautiful moths. This is called hibernation, or, if we want to use a technical term, a facultative, an obligate diapause. Sorry, I got confused. There's facultative and obligate diapause. Obligate is when they have to hibernate no matter what. And facultative is when it's optional, when they only hibernate if temperatures get cold, but otherwise they develop into moths. Well, I feel awkward for saying the wrong example now, because this is actually a good example of obligate, not facultative diapause. Hope I didn't confuse you right there. But don't worry, this is not a biology video, it's a breeding video. Anyway, first I want to show you what the pupa look like. So remember all these awesome looking caterpillars that we raised, you know? The very strange ones with horns. The green, strange caterpillars. So here's the thing. Some of them will spin cocoons in the leaves, yeah? This is what a cocoon looks like of Aglia tau. They make a very lazy cocoon with holes in it. As you can see, you can even barely call it a cocoon, to be honest. It's just... Usually they spin silk, they take leaves and they spin the leaf together with a little bit of silk. So they don't make much effort in making a whole cocoon like other moths. Some of these pupa are also pupated in the kitchen paper without making a cocoon. If you see these brown spots here, this is silk. And these are just cavities where they just glue the paper together with silk and pupate in there.
So if you're wondering, Bart, why don't your pupa have cocoons? Well, if you're breeding this species, in a lot of cases they won't even make cocoons if you give them a lot of leaf litter. They will use that instead of wasting energy on making silk. If you're wondering what the white stuff is, this is paper towel and some materials that are stuck to the cremaster. So the cremaster is this spiny bit at the end of a pupa, and it actually has barbs, and it can attach itself to, you know, to silk or other fabrics. So when they pupate, sometimes some of the material I use for pupation, it gets stuck to the cremaster, which is interesting. So I'm gonna give you a very good look here at the pupa. They are brown. So you can see some of these big pupa are probably the females, and some of the smaller ones are the male. In this species the male is much smaller than the female. So take a good look. It's probably the first and only time that we're gonna see Aglia tau pupa on my channel, because I don't plan to breed them again soon. So now is the moment that you really want to stare at it. So now we are going to hibernate the pupa. And what's very, very, very important, very important, very, very, very important, listen guys, is they need a cold winter. Why? Bart, isn't it cruel to expose them to the cold? The answer is no, because they actually need the cold temperature to break their hibernation. So how does this work? Basically, low temperatures are a natural cue that tells the pupa which season it is. And it's the cold temperatures that let the pupa know that right now is winter. And if they never get this cue, they are forever going to be in some state of suspended development. So if a species has an obligate diapause, it means you have no option but to hibernate them. No other option, nothing. They have to hibernate. It's mandatory. So for this species, we need to expose them to the cold for several months before they can turn into moths. Otherwise, they are not going to develop. Now the good news is this species is native to my country. My country is a temperate country in northern Europe, so the winters in my country are chilly. They're not as cold as like Canada or Russia or even France, because those places have a continental climate. And I live in a country with a maritime climate. The ocean tends to have a mellowing effect. The ocean tends to make summer cooler, which is why we have mild summers, but we also have mild winters, because the ocean actually warms the climate in the winter, sorry. So in a maritime climate, you have mild summers, mild winters, and they can tolerate it. Of course, the species is also found in Central Europe, even I think up to Ukraine, Russia, where the winter is really harsh. So they can actually tolerate cold. But important to understand is in the wild, in nature, the caterpillars will burrow themselves in leaf litter. They will make cocoons deep in the leaf litter, maybe at the base of trees or plant roots, in crevices. They will not just randomly lay on the floor. That would be dangerous. So they do need some insulation. So I'm ripping up here the paper towel a little bit. I'm ripping it to pieces. I'm gonna make a nice warm bed for them. And yes, the pupa are very cold hardy. That's true. But it doesn't mean that you should, you know, completely expose them to freezing temperature. Make sure to insulate them and pack them. And how you're gonna do this is up to you. Be creative. You can use a lot of things. You can use vermiculite. You can use basically paper towel, like I'm doing right now, you know, just anything that keeps it warm. I used to use towels in some of my other videos, if you watch my other breeding videos. Ooh, this stuff looks really warm. It feels very comfortable. I'm gonna add some of that too. It's gonna keep them nice. And this is basically, it protects them from direct exposure to the worst kind of frost, you know. Like I said, they can handle the cold, but they need a blanket, okay? They need some insulation. And I'm gonna go even farther. I'm gonna go take this box, I'm gonna close it. Then I'm going to take this box and place it in another box. So it's gonna be a box inside of a box. I hope it fits actually, maybe it's actually too big. Well, never mind. This is stupid. I don't care if it breaks. I don't care if it rips a little bit. Oop! Looks dumb, sounds dumb. This cardboard doesn't add much of value, I guess, because I broke it, but I can add some more of this stuff in here, and it's not gonna look professional or anything, but do we care? No, we don't. As long as it's nice and warm, just like that. It'll keep them warm in winter, hopefully. Yeah. This really terrible looking messy place is my garden shed. It's outdoors, it's where I keep lawn chairs, jerry cans, firewood, shit that I don't need. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this box of hibernating cocoons and pupa, put it in here. Yep. Believe it or not, this thing is actually an old trash can. But it doesn't matter. I use it now to hibernate pupa and cocoons here in my shed. Hey, it looks trash. Doesn't matter. This is my garden. Nobody comes here. So yeah, it's outdoors as you can see. It's exposed to the outdoor temperature and environment. So yeah. And what we're gonna do next is very simple. It's very easy. But it's gonna take a lot of patience. We're gonna wait until spring. Now, weather is dreadful. It's gonna take many more months to before we get sunshine, before the flowers start growing, before the birds start singing. I'm not sure what I'm gonna do these boring months. Breeding moths can be a super seasonal hobby. Winter is definitely a very boring time if you're a moth breeder, because a lot of species go into hibernation. But yeah, that's what we do. This is how we hibernate these insects outdoors. And I'm just gonna wait for the cold to finally leave. Yep. And in spring we take them back indoors and we warm them up. And the warmth after a long period of cold, that's what gives the pupa the cue to start developing.
So, and then there comes a long winter. You guys may not realize it, but some of these episodes take over a year to produce. You're sitting comfortably in your chair watching YouTube videos that I took over a year to produce. Winter is a very boring time if you breed moths. Most species hibernate, not all of them. Some of my tropical species don't hibernate. But the European ones generally do. During this time I tend to travel or take a break from my hobby. But just so you know, I had to wait a whole winter, a long cold winter, for it finally to be spring.
But then it was time, finally spring. Let's see what happened. Ladies and gentlemen, spring is coming. As you may see, we see the first flowers. It's a bit of evidence that things are going to start blooming. See, more flowers, first flowers of the year. Now here's the thing. In the wild, Aglia taus start flying in my country around April, with the peak activity late April to May. Late May, they almost stop flying with the latest specimens in June. Right now it's the 10th of March. So we are about 3 weeks early before the first moths start flying in the wild. But the thing is, it's been an unusually warm spring, like more warm than any other year recorded because of climate change. And I'm a bit concerned that the warmth and the warm temperatures right now are going to wake up my cocoons too early, and they are going to hatch in the box outdoors in my garden. So I've decided I'm going to take my Aglia tau out of hibernation a few weeks too early. But here's the thing, if I take them out of hibernation, it is still going to take maybe 2 more weeks before the moths actually form and come out. So they are not going to be synchronized with the flight time of wild moths, but I don't really care, to be honest. These insects don't really live in my area anyway, and these live in captivity. So it's okay if indoors, I artificially induce spring a few weeks too early. The moths don't mind it. So it's what I'm gonna do. So the moths have been sleeping here all winter, as usual. I don't know if you are a fan of my channel and you watch all my videos. If so, then you are very familiar with this process. We've done it together dozens of times. But if you're new here, winter is a very boring time for my channel when I usually don't have much content to make. Because like most of my species are literally sleeping in winter, they are hibernating, waiting for me to warm them up after a few months. And it's gonna happen now. It's another breeding season, it's another year, so with that, this is the first species of the year I'm taking out of hibernation. And to be honest, I'm a little bit bored. I just came back from the country of Uganda, where I've been studying moths. Very cool, isn't it? Anyway, enough about that. This is not about my private life or what I'm doing in other countries. Although it is insect and entomology related. But I'm very excited to get out my first species from hibernation. I've been very eager to see them. This is one of my favorite species. I may be biased because it's a native insect to my country, but I love them. They are so beautiful and underrated. I love Aglia tau. This is my big moth breeding cage. It already contains cocoons of many species. So as you can see, not all moth species hibernate, but most of them. Do you like these? This is a species of Pupae, one of those giant tropical owl moths. This is where I research the life cycles of many species in captivity in this little breeding space. Some people may think this looks weird or crazy, but it's a hobby that helps the environment, because I discover many new things about moths in this room. See, here's African moon moths, other stuff, if you know what those are. So I do have some stuff. These are even atlas moths, some of the world's biggest. Anyway, what we're gonna do now is really simple. I'm gonna open the box and carefully take out all the pupa. Just like that. There you go. Wake up, boys, it's springtime. Please wake up. Oh yeah. Gently. Gonna take them all out. Alright, here's the moment of truth. My army of beautiful Aglia tau, I love you. Where shall we place them? Some of them even move, can you see? They're starting to move already. I think I will place them in here. This tub contains vermiculite, and the vermiculite keeps them humid. It absorbs moisture very well. My little babies. And now we're going to wait for maybe 2 weeks until we hopefully start seeing the first moths come out. It's going to be so exciting. Alright, that was it. Aglia tau. MothCycles, let's go. And then finally the moths started to appear. Ladies and gentlemen, I just noticed that when I take a look at my beautiful pupa, in the corner of my cage there is a mysterious little moth. You're probably just as curious about it as I am. Let's take it outdoors to make a nice close-up. Oh my god, ladies and gentlemen, there it is. There it is. This is what we've been waiting for. This is a male of the Tau Emperor, Aglia tau. One of the only 2 species of Saturniidae
emperor moths or silk moths native to my country, the Netherlands. Native to Europe and a small part of Asia. Found usually in beech forest. Here we have the Tau emperor. Wow. The Tau emperor is a beautiful species. It's also very seasonal. They come out in spring and fly for just a few weeks per year. It is not so difficult to breed and it's absolutely worth the effort. What a gorgeous animal. I am once again in love.
The underside of this creature is also quite beautiful. When it's sitting still or resting, it kind of looks like a dead leaf, doesn't it? Like when they're sitting still on a tree or in the vegetation, you wouldn't notice it very easily. Wow. Now, guys, I am very happy to show you the Tau emperor. If you are a fan of the Bart Coppens YouTube channel, you've seen how for many years I've been raising and rearing exotic species from all over the world, from Africa, from Madagascar, but even from North America. We've had Luna moths, we've had regal moths, we've had polyphemus moths on this channel. We had a lot of moths. But some people commented and said, Bart, why don't you show European species from your own country more often? And they had a point. I think it's because I am a European man, I live in Europe. I don't consider them very often because I guess they are normal to me. That's not to say that I think they're not exciting, I do think they're exciting, but I don't know, I guess it was just an oversight because I take them for granted. But the Tau emperor is actually very special, very unique species from Europe.
The Tau emperor is a unique silk moth in many ways because it is in its own subfamily, the Aglinae. The genus Aglia is in the subfamily Aglinae, containing only the genus Aglia. Now, for those of you who don't have much affinity with taxonomy and subspecies and subfamilies, then maybe what I'm saying doesn't make any sense, but if you know, you know. And they're actually distinct relatives of Hemileucinae. I think they share a common ancestor, which means yes, it's not incorrect to call them the Automeres of Europe, if you know what an Automeres is. Because I guess this is literally their closest relative that they have in Europe. When it sits still it looks like a leaf, but if it's disturbed it will open. Don't worry, I'm not hurting it. But if it's disturbed it opens the wings. And it shows us the beautiful little eye spots. And of course these eye spots, they serve a defensive purpose. Emperor moths are typically famous for having gorgeous eye spots. But they are not unique to emperor moths, but they are of course a very effective defensive mechanism. Eye spots seem really effective when it comes to scaring predators like songbirds or rodents away. And that's why so many species of butterflies and moths have these fake eyes on their wings, including the Tau emperor. Don't worry, he didn't fly away, he just fell off my hand. And what's really cool is this is a day flying species. In my country they fly during the day. And you can see them in the forest in spring, if you're lucky. If you ever come to Europe and you visit the old beech forests, where there's high quality forest, and you visit maybe in late March or April or May, and you take a hike on a sunny day, you may see the males of this species flying. Now the females of this species are like twice the size of males.
Hey, it's starting to rain, I'm gonna have to wrap this up quickly. The females of this species are like twice the size of the males, but we have yet to get any females. We only have one male, this is the first Tau emperor. He's sitting here in this enclosure, can you see him? It's a special pop-up cage, special enclosure for insects.
Anyway, I'm gonna go back indoors now. The rain is too much and it's dangerous to my camera, this much water and rain. Thanks for watching, I'm really excited. I really hope we can get a female soon and some pairings, that would be perfect.
Well guys, I have good news. A female came out, but a male immediately started mating with her, like immediately. As soon as she came out of the pupa, I didn't even have the chance to film it. That's crazy.
Ladies and gentlemen, I could not help but notice that a male and female have come out.
Alright folks, this is the female. She is much bigger than the male, as you can see. Kind of surprisingly big even. I'm going to introduce her to the two males. This species is a day-flying species, which means that on a sunny afternoon like today they should mate. But here's the thing, this female has already mated. Because I saw when she came out of her cocoon this morning, one of the new males was immediately mating with her.
Well, they're already mating, but I had no chance to film it. However, it does mean that the life cycle will be completed soon. This species mates in daylight. Preferably, they want a bit of sun and natural light.
Alright folks, sorry if I didn't really have a chance to show these off very much. I was very concerned about getting a mating. Breeding project is important, we want to succeed. I've been doing this for a year. So it's important right now I take the opportunity. But I think we kind of succeeded, didn't we? So that's great. I'm gonna place them back into their enclosure at the moment and leave them alone for a few hours. I'm not sure how long the mating takes. I'm sure it doesn't take very long. But I do want to place them back in their own enclosure so they can mate in peace. There you go. Alright, well, let's leave them alone for a while. Gonna check back in a few hours.
However, the good news is later I did manage to film a pairing, a mating of this species, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm happy for that. So, one of the most important things to remember is this moth wants daylight. I know, it's one of those silk moths that flies during the day. It's not that unusual. On my channel we've had several species before of day-flying moths. But it's a bit counterintuitive, especially if you are new to this hobby. They like to have a little bit of natural light. And if they can, warmer days, although they will mate on colder days too. But yeah, daylight is what they want to pair and be active. So let me show you what happened when I tried to mate the moths.
Ladies and gentlemen, I could not help but notice that a male and female have come out.
As you can see, the males are very active. They are flying around because this is a day-flying species, yeah. They fly during the day when it's sunny and warm. So, I'm gonna take this a large female here. Just have a good look at the female. She is gorgeous though. What a strange species this is, isn't it? It's a very unique little silk moth. So I'm gonna take this large female, who has some gorgeous eye spots, by the way. Look at that. What a beauty. And I'm gonna introduce her to these males, but I'm gonna see if she will mate again. She already mated, but some moths can do it multiple times. So here, let's take the enclosure and put her in carefully, like that, on top.
Maybe she still has an appetite for mating. Let's see. See if anything will still happen, folks. Are the males gonna notice her, or is she done mating for today? We shall see. We shall see. My little Tau emperors. Come on, boys. Thing is, she's already mated, so maybe she's not interested anymore, but I like to capture the moment on camera. That would be great. Maybe she's done for today. We shall see. Come on, little males. You must be able to smell her. She's very close. Oh, what's this? One of the males is trying. Oh yeah. Look at the difference here between the male and the female. Oh, come on, this male is definitely trying, come on. Oh yeah, we got it on camera. Ooh, we got it on camera. They are mating. Oh yeah. I'm cheering on moths when they are mating, isn't that crazy? Yes! They did it again! Woo! Yes, this is the sexy time. Oh gosh, they did it. They freaking did it! Right in front of our nose. Yeah, this species will mate during the day. It's interesting how many European silk moths are kind of day flying. Well folks, here they are mating. Can you see that, the male and female mating? It's funny, it's the first male and female I had and instantly they mated. So this species will pair very, very easily. But it's important to remember it is a day flying moth, okay? They don't care for darkness. They want light. They need even a little bit of sunlight in order to mate. I'm so happy. This is really probably one of the most beautiful moths from my country, the Netherlands. I'm a little bit proud to show them off. Now you can also easily see the difference between the male and the female in size. Look at how big the female is compared to these small males. These tiny moths only live for a few days. They don't have a mouth and cannot feed. Like they literally cannot. The Saturniidae emperor moths are typically non-feeding. Well, it's not true that they don't have a mouth. I should say they have reduced mouth parts. They do have a mouth, but not one that's functioning. So, yeah. Underside is really cool looking. Oh, I love to breed these species in spring. They're so gorgeous. That's it. Now we wait. Well, looks like the male and females are finished. Now I have a moment to show you the cool moths up close. Sorry, I was in a rush. Oh my god, is it not incredibly gorgeous? Finally! Finally I can expose you all to the real beauty of Aglia Tau. Now I can show you the male and female together. Here in my hand. And by the gods are they not beautiful. I really like the male the most. This is the new male that we got this morning. It seems that this male has very blue eye spots. And even like a dark line around his wings. Oh my god, is he not absolutely beautiful. Notice the huge difference with the female in size here. I'm wondering why not more people like to breed this species for fun. It's a very easy species, it's very great, and it's astonishingly beautiful. Gotta film this carefully,
because this male is wanting to fly away at any second. We don't want him to escape, even though it's not a disaster, it's not a native species, but I'm gonna keep him for breeding and stuff. Just see the difference here between the male and the female. Is that not amazing? I think it is. Alright, let's put them back, he's gonna fly away. Female has a really cute face, doesn't she? She has small eyes though. What's the deal with that? Look at your small ass eyes. You're so silly. Guys, the message today is clear. Breed Aglia tau. If you live in Europe or you're a hobbyist of silk moths, guys, Aglia tau is such a great species to get started with. It's one of the best. The caterpillars are cool, the moths are really cool. The only downside is that of this species is that it's really seasonal. You can only get one brood per year in spring. Guys, in my opinion, these Aglia tau are an amazing, sorry for the hiccups, an amazing and underrated species. And I hope you guys agree. The orange males with the bright blue eye spots are gorgeous. They are extremely beautiful, you know. I feel like this is a silk moth that doesn't get enough attention, you know. It's deserving of more attention. It deserves to be just as famous as Automerus or other similar silk moths. Of course, in Northern Europe, it's a pretty famous species where I live because it's one of our two only native species of silk moth, you know. But people in the United States, for example, they are less aware of its existence. It's a shame. It's a really great species for breeding. They are very beautiful. I love the males with the bright blue eye spots. It's so gorgeous. The only downside is it's a really seasonal species, so if you enjoy breeding them, you have to be very patient because you don't see the moths until the next spring, and that's a downside, you know, one brood per year. Takes a lot of your patience. And the moths are very short-lived. It's a lot of work for a tiny animal that lives maybe for a week. But if you do it well, you can do many generations and stay entertained by them. Absolutely amazing. I'm very happy, guys. I hope you are as well.
And then some more moths came out. Let me show you. And another female just came out. She is wonderful, she's gorgeous. So guys, we already got one pairing, remember when the male and female mated. I hope that happens again. Of course, one female can lay over 100 eggs. So the pairing we have, with the pairing that we've already had, ooh! They like to drop themselves on the floor sometimes, typical Aglia tau behavior. What I was about to say is with the pairing we've already had, we already get more than enough offspring and babies. So the breeding project is already successful and I can already raise more babies than I raised last year, because one of these females just lays a lot of eggs. But if I get more pairings, that would be great. I also want to trade the eggs with friends or sell them to colleagues. Now, trading insects online is controversial. Should you send moth and butterfly eggs all over the globe to fellow hobbyists? Yeah, sometimes you should, if it's legal and if it's ethical. And I'll show you how it's done. If we get more pairings, if not, then I'm already happy with what we've got. But yeah, some more would be nice. And then some more moths came out. Let me show you. Aha! Another day. Another Aglia tau. Oh, we got a new male. That's exactly what we needed. Alright folks, new male today. He's not perfect looking. But you know what, neither am I. So works for me. Still very nice species though.
Looks like the wings aren't very straight for some reason in this individual. Huh, strange. I don't think it's gonna be an issue though when it comes to mating them or pairing them. So from that perspective it's fine. Just gonna place him with the females really and hope that today or tomorrow he's gonna do his duty as a male and mate with some of those females. Because you know that would be excellent. It would be great, I would love that. What a great species, isn't it fantastic? I think it's so beautiful. It's a really cool one. I love Aglia tau.
Eventually the moths will lay a lot of eggs.
Now guys, we are having several Aglia taus. Next part in breeding moths, when you've had matings, is to collect some of the eggs. The eggs can be used to make another generation of moths, of course. Now guys, some of the first moths have died from old age. This was our first female. I don't think she has many life left. What's interesting is when the moths die from old age, I sell them online on websites like Etsy. So if you guys are interested, you can buy ethically farmed moths, right? Because some people don't like that butterflies and moths are being killed to put them in frames. So I sell the ones who die from old age on my Etsy web shop if you're interested. Just a little shout out here to my own web store. Whoops. The wind is blowing it away. But as you can see, yeah, they are in pretty good condition. They are not perfect because they died from old age. So customers will have to accept some imperfections here. Anyway, I have a petri dish, and in this petri dish I am going to collect the laid eggs of Aglia tau. At this point we have had several matings, and some of the females are sitting here getting a bit older. Let me show you some of the beautiful girls who have done the hard work for this video. Here's one of them. You guys are amazing. Thank you guys for laying so many eggs. Such an amazing and gorgeous species, if you ask me personally. Shout out to Aglia tau. My opinion, one of the most beautiful moths in Europe. Just look at how beautiful they are, guys. Wow. So, the eggs. This species are easy to recognize. They are these brown oval things, and I want you guys to ignore the yellow eggs. They are from another species, but it's about the brown oval ones that we need to collect. Those are the eggs of Aglia tau. So what I do is I'm gonna use a petri dish. They glue the eggs to the wall of the cage. They are pretty stuck. So I'm gonna carefully use my fingers to remove them. In this species you can use your fingers, okay? They are pretty robust, pretty strong eggs with a strong eggshell. So there's no risk of us crushing them. Just be gentle and take them off. This takes a while, unfortunately. So I'm not gonna show you the whole content, and I'm not gonna show you the whole clip of me finding all the eggs, because this is gonna take at least 20 minutes to find every freaking egg. Alright folks, here's the first yearly harvest of eggs of Aglia tau. See in the petri dish here, these brown things on the bottom. So the eggs of this species are very unusual. They are very oval. They kind of remind me of the eggs of beetles or grasshoppers. I don't know many Saturnid eggs that have this unusual shape, to be honest. It's really unique. Yeah, the eggs are very oval and sometimes even curved. Very strange eggs, isn't it, for a Saturnid moth? Very strange. We're gonna see if they're fertile. We've seen them pair before. We've seen them have pairings. So right now the question is, have the males done a good job of fertilizing these females? And are these eggs gonna hatch? Let's hope so. You gotta love it. More and more of them are still coming out once in a while. Even though I feel like most of them have come out. We did have a successful breeding anyway, so I feel as if the breeding project is almost over. Oh look, its cute little face.
So cool, so adorable. Well, this species has an adorable face, doesn't it? I think it just does. How cute. That's a completed life cycle if I've ever seen one. We may want to wrap this up soon. Just enjoying my little babies for a little bit before we finish another moth life cycle. Yeah, it's doing great, isn't it?
Sadly, during the making of this episode, I was very busy with work, which means that I wasn't there to film all the moths. We've raised a lot more cocoons and pupa than the amount of moths that you'll be able to see in this video. Sadly, the moths, they just live for a short time, and if I'm busy and I'm not there in time to film or document everything, then I don't capture it on camera. Let me show you some more of the moths that we've raised. Just keep in mind it wasn't all of them, but I think it's enough to make a nice breeding video, so you get the point. Wish I had more free time for YouTube though. Let me show you.
Right, boys and girls, small update. We got ourselves a new female today. She's smaller than the previous female that we had, but she's a nice looking healthy female. She's single. I'll show you the other female tomorrow. It's just a quick little update. It is such a nice species though. I do prefer to look at the males. I think the males are more pretty and colorful. I'm sorry, but I do enjoy seeing both of them. Really nice species, guys, if you are somebody who wants to study the real European Saturniidae. It's not hard to obtain material, and it's legal, perfectly legal. They are not protected species in most countries, as far as I know, so at least not where I live in the Netherlands. They are easy to breed. The only downside is most species from Europe, a lot of them only have one brood per year and will hibernate. They don't have like a second brood in a lot of cases. This includes the Tau Emperor, Aglia Tau. It's also single brooded, as you could have seen in this video. Otherwise, breeding them is a great, fantastic experience. It just takes a lot of patience. Oop. Sometimes if they are touched, they do freak out. Just like this. They'll flop around a little bit. Like a fish on land, as we say in Dutch. Als een vis op het droge. Yo, calm down. I'm not hurting you. Yeah. I guess this is how they display the eye spots and try to get away from a predator. I'm sorry, girl. It's okay. It's gonna be okay. You're gonna be okay. Relax. 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 What are you doing? Yes, that's it. Relax. No. Stop that. Yes. No. No. Yes. Good. No. Stop it. Ah, you are so dramatic. Now you get to see the underside. Anyway, I'm gonna put her back. Bye bye. Small update. Had a new female today. Quickly gonna show her off. Not gonna make too much updates really. Except for the fact I have one female. A new female. Let me show you what to do next if you breed this species.
In about 2 weeks, the eggs will hatch and the babies will come out, and you have completed the life cycle of this beautiful insect.
Hello folks, it's a lovely day, spring day. A fantastic day to continue raising my unusual little moth species. Aglia iblis, fantastic species. Let's see how the caterpillars have been doing. Ladies and gentlemen, I have all the reasons to be happy today because I think we just completed another life cycle. Yeah. Check it out, I'll show you what I'm talking about.
Remember those Tau Emperor eggs that I showed you before that I was collecting? Well, guess what folks? When we zoom in, what do we see? That's right. Baby caterpillars, can you see them? Of course I don't have to show them extensively, because you've seen them before. But the good news is we did complete another life cycle. That's fantastic. Little babies with their weird antlers. Is that not great? Anyway, I'm gonna move them to... Oh wait, there's a lot more here in the corner. So yes, the eggs are fertile. And we did another generation of this awesome little species. What do you guys think? Do you guys think they are just as beautiful as I think they are? Don't you guys agree this species is massively underrated in the hobby? Of course in Europe everybody likes to breed them, but there we go. There we go. But I've certainly spoken to a lot of silk moth enthusiasts that don't really know much about this, especially silk moth enthusiasts from like the United States. Of course, if you are from the USA, it makes sense that you know more about American species of moth than European ones. That makes total sense. Still, I think it's great to be educated in such matters, especially a world where not many people care about moths at all. So if you're somebody that does care about moths, you have to learn as much as possible. Because you are the 0.001% that cares, you know? People like you and me, if you like to watch this video and you think this kind of content is entertaining, then you are the 0.001% as well. We are supposed to carry the burden of knowledge about animals that nobody speaks up for and that nobody else has compassion for, but we do. So keep fighting, my moth fans. Anyway, another life cycle complete.
And more moths came out.
Well, the moths keep coming out, but we already have some offspring that I'm gonna take care of right now. This is the same box that we used to raise them in last year, remember? Funny is that it's still broken, but they say if it works, maybe it isn't broken, you know. So here's some more oak tree. I found oak tree and willow both to be really good plants to rear these on. Actually, maybe I want to place the box vertically like this. Hold on. Some of the baby caterpillars. What's interesting is I gave them some sweet gum as like a test, and they are eating it. Is there something that won't eat sweet gum, guys? What a universal plant. Some of the caterpillars are already growing bigger. Remember this life stage? I'm sure you remember this from the beginning of this life cycle. This MothCycles episode. That's right. As you can see, I got many more of them in different life stages. If we zoom in here, look at that. They still have their little antlers. Look at that, these little Christmas tree caterpillars. Aren't they just gorgeous? They're really something special. It's a really special species of silk moth. Very cool.
Quite different from the rest, isn't it? We got a lot of them. Gonna release them in the same container that I used to rear their ancestors, huh? So we can repeat the process pretty much. There we go. Let's breed some more of these beauties, huh? Why not? Life is short, enjoy it. Do you believe how this here on my hand is the same species? The size difference is pretty incredible, isn't it? How some tiny caterpillars can practically grow into huge insects over time. It's a funny difference to see, if you ask me. Really cool. Wow. That's it. Just like that, the life cycle was finished. It's over, we did it. Another species on my channel. What species shall we breed next? Eventually I'm gonna raise all the cool species of silk moth and film all the life cycles. It just takes a lot of time to make this kind of content. So it's gonna take me many years. I've been doing this for like 7-8 years. And I'm still making episodes about common species. But if you watch MothCycles, I think something is very important. At the end of the show I always have a little segment where we go through the ecology and biology of the species that we've raised. I think it's fantastic. I think it's great to breed moths for entertainment. But it's even better if we learn about them. We learn about the biology and ecology, because I think that's the really valuable thing about keeping insects as pets. It's that you can have close experiences with these animals. You can see them, feel them and touch them. Some people may say it's selfish to do that with wild animals. I don't think so. I think moths can thrive in captivity if you do it well. I don't think they are missing anything compared to the wild if you do it right. Moths don't have complex emotional needs. They are fantastic to study as animals. I think more people should breed moths. It's ethical and it's legal in most cases. Of course, there's more nuance to the story, but I am now going to talk about the biology and ecology of Aglia tau, just quickly to inform you. I think it's important, and it's a classic part of the MothCycles episodes that you're watching. So let's get into that. Today we are going to talk about one adorable little species of moth from Europe. Well, in other places, but we'll get into that. It's Aglia tau, the Tau Emperor. And it was about time that we did this episode, honestly. For too long have people been asking for a breeding tutorial. And here it finally is. It is one fascinating moth to talk about, so I am eager to get started. And let me say, I don't own the pictures that I use in this presentation, but I am entitled to use them in a transformative and educational way under YouTube's fair use policy. Aglia tau is a marvelous species that is widely distributed in the temperate regions of what we would call the Old World. The species occurs from northern Spain, France and northern Italy, extending through southern Scandinavia and across central, northern and eastern Europe to the Ural Mountains and western Siberia. Isolated populations are found in the Apennine Mountains east of Florence, Italy, and also in the southern Crimea, Ukraine, and the northern Caucasus, and in the western Alborz Mountains of northern Iran, specifically in the Gilan and Mazandaran provinces. I hope I pronounced that right, guys. The species has also been recorded as far north as the Arkhangelsk Oblast in European Russia. It is absent from the British Isles and has not been reported from northern Turkey or the southern Caucasus. Extralimital distribution should also be discussed. It extends from the Altai Mountains across southern Siberia through northern Mongolia, southern Yakutia and Buryatia, reaching as far as the Russian Far East, including Sakhalin Island, as well as northeastern China and South Korea.
Most of this information is from Tony Pittaway's amazing website. Tony, please keep up the good work and thank you for your writing. The Tau emperor can feed on many types of plants. I have listed the plants that they eat, somewhat in order of how important they are to the species. Number 1 is Fagus sylvatica or beech. This plant is considered to be the main and primary host plant for Aglia tau. I do need to give a little disclaimer. Their favorite host plant does vary per latitude and altitude. Beech is the most important food plant for this species in general, but that does not apply to every single population. This list is a generalization for the whole species. However, yes, beech tree is the primary food plant for this species of moth in most places in Europe. On top of that, however, they are also known to really like Betula pendula or birch tree, Quercus or oak tree, Tilia cordata or linden, Ulmus or elm tree, Salix or willow, Sorbus or rowan, Crataegus or hawthorn, Alnus or alder, Corylus or hazel. One of the major habitats of the Tau emperor is beech forest. This is a species of deciduous forest up to 1600 meters altitude. They prefer broadleaf forest where beech tree is dominant in a lot of cases. Makes sense since beech tree, as we discussed before, is one of the major host plants. This species is also found in riparian woodland. This is generally woodland near the edge of lakes, rivers or near bodies of water. In these habitats they tend to go for other plants such as birch tree or willow. When it comes to plants, the species can be adaptable despite having its preferences. The life cycle of Aglia tau is rather straightforward. The moths fly in early spring until the end of spring, generally between March and June. Their flight time does vary based on the altitude, latitude and local weather. For example, when spring is warm, the moths can come out earlier than during a cold spring. The moths do like to have a little sunlight and warmth. They tend to have a peak of activity that lasts for about 3 weeks, with more sporadic emergencies before and after the peak. If you want to see this moth in the wild, your timing needs to be exactly right. After mating and laying eggs, the larvae feed and develop. They take about 2 months to develop. After pupating, the larvae spend winter underground. This species only has 1 brood per year, and the pupa more or less have to hibernate to successfully turn into moths. The next spring, moths come out between March and June and repeat the cycle. Aglia tau is a day-flying moth. You may have seen it in this video. This species needs natural light and a bit of warmth to get going. You can see them zigzagging and flying between the trees during the day. The males mostly fly in the morning, in the afternoon. The males mostly fly in the morning and in the afternoon. They have 1 peak of activity from about 9 o'clock in the morning to about 11 o'clock in the morning. But on sunny days, they can also fly in the afternoon, around 16 or 17 o'clock digital time or later in sunny evenings. The moths have a zigzagging and erratic way of flying. This is deliberate because it makes them hard to catch for any predators. After all, flying in a straight line is too predictable. Females, however, are a bit more passive. Females don't fly very much at all, in fact. Their strategy is to passively wait for the males to finally locate them. And when they do fly, they tend to fly at night. So technically, the male is day active and the female is still nocturnal. And yes, the moths do not feed. They pretty much starve in a week or so. They don't even have a functioning mouth. In terms of conservation, the species is thankfully, as far as we know, not endangered. That being said, there's always a bit more nuance. The species is a forest species. Europe once had vast forests, but significant deforestation occurred over centuries due to increased demand for agricultural land, wood fuel and industrialization. Despite a slight overall gain in tree cover, tall forests, which are vital for biodiversity and carbon sequestration, forests have declined significantly. Intensive timber harvesting, including direct felling and salvage logging after disturbances, is a major driver of deforestation in Europe. The good news is, however, that the EU has implemented regulations and initiatives to address deforestation, including the EU Deforestation Regulation and the EU Biodiversity Strategy. These efforts claim to protect forests, promote sustainable management practices, and restore degraded ecosystems. It should also be noted that this species is also found outside of the European Union, such as parts of Russia, parts of China, and other places. So let's not focus on the EU only for this species. But some sources even suggest that there are 3 isolated populations in Crimea, the Caucasus, and the northern Iran mountains. If that's true, that would be very interesting too. But these populations should be monitored, and not all of them fall under the umbrella of conservation within Europe. Monitoring is important. I know that's a bland take and a bland statement, but it feels like we know a lot about this moth in Northern and Central Europe. But outside of Europe, is it definitely harder to find any data on them? How is this species doing in Siberia? How is this species doing in Northern China? These are important questions to ask, but sometimes there is no answer. However, the good news is, despite local declines, there is no evidence to suggest that this species is endangered at the moment. Known to many, the Tau emperor has different color forms. Granted, the standard orange variety is the most common and widespread that you'll encounter in most places. But there are some more rare, darker forms, such as Aglia Tau melania, a form that's almost entirely dark gray to even black. This form is most commonly found in higher altitudes. This makes sense. Mountains are colder due to the altitude, and the insects may have more trouble warming up in the morning. Being darker helps them absorb more sunlight, and in turn helps them thermoregulate better. There's also intermediate forms, such as Aglia Tau nigra, with a dark border around the wings. Such forms have been bred in captivity deliberately too, but they also occur in the wild, but much less frequently. With some luck, I could obtain eggs of them for a future video, and film them and breed them. Stay tuned for that. The moth can be variable in some places, but at the same time, they are not everywhere. There are many species of Aglia. How many there are depends on who you ask. Unfortunately, some fraudulent taxonomists have attempted to describe more species, such as Aglia sinjevi or Aglia van Schaiki. What? But currently we can't be sure of their status due to the questionable status of their authors and the journal they have been published in. I'm not saying that they are per definition wrong, but a second opinion is warranted. However, there's 3 established species of which we can be rather confident. First, there is Aglia homora from China, found in Shaanxi, Gansu, Sichuan and Qinghai. And then we have Aglia japonica from Japan, and possibly also from parts of Russia. And then we have Aglia Tau, the species that this video is about. It's good for my viewers to realize that there are more species of Aglia around the world. What's interesting about the genus Aglia is that it's unique among all the silk moths in the world. It belongs to the Aglinae subfamily, of which Aglia is the only member. Aglinae is the only Saturnid subfamily that's truly restricted to the Palearctic region, with some overlap in the southeasternmost parts of China. The Aglinae subfamily, along with the Saturniidae, represents a group of non-cocooning silk moths within the Saturniidae family. Studies on their life history and mitochondrial genomes have shed light on their evolutionary history, particularly regarding the loss of cocooning behavior. Yes, both of these moths are known to make very minimalistic to no cocoons at all. Phylogenetic analysis, including mitogenome data, suggests that Aglinae and Saturniidae have lost their cocooning behavior and are not monophyletic within the Saturniidae. These findings highlight the complexities of silk moth evolution, including the role of natural selection and genomic constraints in shaping body size, wing shape and other traits. Aglia tau is a fun and interesting species to breed, especially for people wanting to learn more about European moths. This species is definitely underrated when it comes to breeding silk moths. The most important thing to remember is that the species wants above average humidity. They do not like being wet. In plastic boxes with a little airflow they might thrive. The best plants to use for them are cherry, oak tree, beech, birch or willow in my opinion. Oh, and yes, the pupa pretty much always hibernate. Store them cold in winter and you will have moths next year. Thanks for watching. Next I have a little announcement. I hope you'll stay here to watch and listen. Thank you for watching the life cycle of Aglia tau, one really incredible and fascinating species. If you love to see native European moths, then subscribe. The eye spots are iridescent and the species is overall amazingly beautiful. Look at that. Now let's play the credits. Attention spans on social media are getting shorter and shorter. If you appreciated this long video, then you are the special type of viewer that I've been looking for. Nowhere else on YouTube can you find such extensive moth breeding tutorials except on my channel. Thank you for being here.
The production time of this video was over a year. Over a year, I'm not kidding. You've seen all the seasons, right? And how we hibernated the moths in winter, pretty much. You've seen all the seasons. And you may be wondering, is it sane? Is it normal to make a video that takes a year to produce, only for maybe a few thousand views? It's normal for me because I'm passionate. I want to give free information about moths and show people how to raise them so maybe people can learn from it to promote the hobby and promote love and passion for these beautiful insects. However, I do have a little secret. The only reason I'm able to do all of this, why I can even afford to make super long videos and yep for hours, only get a small amount of views and subscribers in return, is because people support me. I'm pretty much a crowd-funded YouTuber, and one of the biggest ways, one of my main income sources for this channel is a crowdfunding platform called Patreon. Take a look at it. Patreon is basically a website where you can buy a subscription to me and my work for as little as $1 a month. And you can earn some benefits. For example, your name will be in the credits of these videos if you care. And the higher tiers may even obtain gifts and merchandise. Let me show you some of the stuff that I can send to people who are loyal patrons for a long time. The biggest reward, however, is not a material one. It's the fact that you are helping me. Now you may be wondering, how is that a reward by itself? It isn't unless you care about my channel, right? It depends on if you like my videos. Of course, if you don't like them, then it's okay. You don't have to support what you don't like. This is for the people who are willing and able to and who enjoy my channel and who think my videos are helpful. Consider becoming a member of my Patreon or donating to my channel in any other ways. It really helps me make these super long, detailed videos. My content and the style of content that I make, like homemade stuff, is endangered on YouTube. You don't see it that very often, especially not on a rare subject like moths. There's not that many people in the world who have a successful YouTube channel about moths and are willing to make close to 2,000 videos about these animals. I wish I was kidding, but I'm approaching 2,000 free-to-watch moth videos. So if you throw me some dollars, even though it feels almost arrogant to ask, it helps. It helps. The more people subscribe to my Patreon, the more species I can breed. The more I can spend on this hobby, on time and equipment. And then there's another thing. You see, I have something called Patreon goals. And the way this works is basically if we meet a certain goal, I will give you a reward in the form of producing a video. Usually it's a video about a very long requested species. And we're actually kind of close to certain goals right now. So I just wish to remind you, if just a few more people sign up to my Patreon, that could be you, and we meet these goals, then you're going to get these special videos as a reward. If we reach the goal of $475 per month, I've decided that I will try to breed and film the life cycle of the autumn emperor moth, Perisomena kakigena. It's a beautiful silk moth from Europe that is yellow and pink, and the females are brown. It does vary. Sometimes the females can be yellow too, or the males can be more dark, but enough yapping. Let me give you a little teaser. Perisomena kakigena, or the autumn emperor moth, is a rare and unusual silk moth from Europe. I like to call them Europe's forgotten silk moth species because so very few people are aware of its existence in the first place. If we hit the $475 goal, I will film the life cycle and make an episode of how to breed this species. The breeding of this species might happen, but only if we reach $475 per month collectively. So the more people sign up to my Patreon, the more I get per month, and the closer we get to this goal. This is my way of rewarding you, and this is my way of motivating you and motivating people who watch my channel to sign up and join my Patreon. If we reach the $485 per month goal, which is close to $475, so we might hit both goals at the same time, then I'm going to breed finally a classic species, a really classic one that people keep asking me about all the time. It's Saturnia pavonia, the small emperor moth, one of the only native silk moth or Saturniidae or emperor moth species in northern Europe. A very famous species among European entomologists. Let me give you a teaser on that. Saturnia pavonia is one of my most requested species, even more than Aglia tau. Yes, this is the small emperor moth, the classic species of silk moth from Europe. People have been begging me to film the life cycle and finally make a breeding tutorial on these little guys. Well, it might happen with your support. Consider becoming a Patreon, and if we hit the $485 goal per month, I will make a tutorial of how to breed this amazing species. Yeah, if you want to see me breed that thing, consider becoming a Patreon member. I swear. If we hit the goal of $515 a month, then I'll try to breed a really special moth from Africa. It's called Nudaurenia dione, and it's a golden species of emperor moth. Yes, it's from my favorite family of moths, the Saturniidae, of course. And I'm going to breed them for you in captivity and show you how. Let me show you. Nudaurenia dione is a very special silk moth from Africa. But in order to see the life cycle of this moth, we need to push for the $515 goal per month. Only with your community support will this ever happen. They are amazing golden moths with a beautiful appearance. I'm sure we are all curious to know if I can breed them in captivity. If I put my mind to it, I'll give it a try. And if we ever get to 530, which is more far away, realistically it won't happen soon, then I will try to breed the only native Rothschildia species found in a small part of the United States, but also Mexico, Central America, Rothschildia cincta. Let me show you. Rothschildia cincta is a small species of Rothschildia. What makes it special is that it's the only species of Rothschildia that is technically native to the United States of America, if not for only a small part of it. But it counts nonetheless. I need your help. I need your support. Without your donations and contributions, this channel would not be the way it was. And I would not be making these long videos. Consider becoming a Patreon member today. So if we hit the $530 crowdfunding goal, I finally shall breed it and document it. Last but not least, this is absolutely never going to happen, or maybe in like 10 years time, because my channel is very slow growing. if I ever reach 1,000 per month on Patreon, I will do a world tour. I can't really give you a teaser for that, but let me just tickle your imagination.
This will probably never happen, but if my Patreon ever hits 1,000 a month in a lifetime, I swear to God I will do a world tour. I will travel across Europe, America, South America, Africa. I will go to several countries and do a world tour and show you the beauty of insects across the globe.
It might never happen, but you never know. You never know. It would be fantastic though. Don't forget, this channel is independent and passion driven. It is a one-man operation. I don't have an editor, I don't have a writer. It's my own cameras, my own equipment, my own insects. I do all of this by myself. And it ain't easy. The good news is my channel is no longer demonetized. I finally earn ad revenue for my videos. But it's still hard. It's still difficult. So that's why I bring it up. I hate to be a silly little internet beggar. I only bring this up in my larger, harder to produce videos. If you watch my short videos, you're not gonna hear me talk about this anymore. But the long videos, like MothCycles, yes, it's still very important to have community support to make more stuff like this. And you're helping me preserve and share information about wildlife, biodiversity, and the conservation of insects. Moths and their conservation are a commonly discussed topic on this channel, especially after we breed a certain species. And I think that's very important in a world where ignorance is an existential threat to insects. We don't protect or care about them the same way that we do about vertebrates, and it's not fair. And I think this channel might change some of that, but only with your help. Thank you for watching, guys. Sorry for the eternal begging segments that I add, but they are still necessary as much as they have always been. Catch you in the next episode. And also I promise to make shorter versions of these long videos. But these long ones are for you, the real bug nerds who want to see all the details, who want to see everything. See you in the next one. Let's play the credits.